Hello, all of you vaingloriously wonderful people. The second part of automation for Astroneer is upon us, so let's take a look at what's new, what's changed, the release date, and talk about my initial first impressions. First up, let's take a look at everything that is brand new. The medium gas canister joins the mass storage ranks, bringing with it the option to store 32 gas canisters from the atmospheric condenser. With 5 units per regular canister, that means each medium gas canister can hold a total of 160 units of gas. I have not had a lot of time to do extensive testing, but it does seem that one full medium gas canister has less of an impact upon performance than 32 regular canisters. And if you think about it, that does make sense, as the game only has one object to track and animate. That's not to say it isn't without a few issues. It would seem that the medium gas canister is not able to automatically pull a regular gas canister that is attached to the same storage or platform. Once you manually place a regular canister on the medium gas canister, it will begin pulling all subsequent canisters. Additionally, when output is enabled, the regular canisters are not moved to storage. Instead, they simply stay attached to the end of the medium gas canister. This behavior seems to have extended out to the medium and large resource canisters as well. I'm uncertain if this is a bug or the intended functionality. I know a lot of players have expressed frustration with resource canisters spamming out resources and filling up all available storage, but instead of just holding onto the resource nugget or gas canister, a third setting really would be preferable. Moving on, we have the new large active storage. Now, don't jump to conclusions on this one, because it is not simply a big storage platform with 15 tier 1 slots. Okay, I mean, it is a big storage platform with 15 tier 1 slots, but it is also much more than that. First of all, when you activate this new object, it raises from laying flat to standing upright. This alone would be some really cool functionality, as it allows you to not only access each slot easier, but it allows you to set it to match the aesthetic that you want in your base. But it doesn't stop there. On the back of the large active storage are a few additional slots, but they are not for storage. At the base, there's a single slot, and on the back there are 15 slots to correspond to the slots on the front. These are for target pins from the various sensors. The one at the bottom will control the vertical and horizontal articulation of the storage itself, while the other 15 will activate any item on the corresponding hole on the front. So let's take a look at this in action. While laying flat, several lights are off, but if I activate the button repeater attached to several slots, the large active storage raises up and all of the lights turn on. Activate the button repeater again, and the same lights turn off and the storage lays flat again. You can also just connect a single target pin to any other point in the large active storage to activate its articulation as well as all of the attached items with one button push. There is a ton of potential with this new object, especially when it comes to creating interactive displays. Now, instead of a mess of cables attached to each individual light, you can create cleaner, more organized connections that can be hidden behind the storage. And I'm confident that Astroneers everywhere will find even more uses for the new large active storage. The counter repeater is a handy little sensor that, as its name implies, will count the number of times an event occurs and activate connected items when it hits the specified number. To put this into context, let's imagine you have enough battery power to make it through one windless night on Silva. And let's also imagine that you have a bank of backup generators ready to recharge your batteries. Now, instead of triggering your backup generators every time there's no wind or solar power, you can set the counter repeater to 2, and it will only turn on the backup generators every other windless night. And I should probably pause right there to let you know that this video is not meant to serve as an exhaustive demo of every possible way each new item can be utilized. But soon I will have a brand new automation series that will take a deep dive look at all things automation, including functional setups that you can use in your own base and ideas from the Astroneer community. So if you have an idea for using any of the automation items that you would like to share with the Astroneer community, but you really don't want to go through the effort of creating a video or a write-up, well, hit me up on Twitter or on Discord. I'll take a look at your ideas, and if I use it in a video, you'll get full credit for your creation. But back to the automation part 2 update. We also have the delay repeater. This little gem will, as its name implies, add a small delay before it passes on an activation signal. It ranges from 1 to 25, though this is not 1 to 25 seconds. I have set up a demonstration here to show you how long these delays are, using 25 fireworks and 25 delay repeaters. The one closest to me is set to a delay of 1, while the farthest one is set to 25, and all of them in between span the rest of the range. When I hit the attached button repeater, the fireworks launch in a fairly rapid succession. And if you're looking for exact numbers, each delay is essentially 4 frames if you are running at 30 frames per second or higher. So a delay of 25 would be 100 frames. The delay will not be shorter if you're above 30 frames per second, but it will be a longer delay if you are running below 30 frames per second. We also have a new power switch. This one can be fairly simple. You connect power in on one side and out on the other. Anything on that outside will essentially be turned off and on via the power switch. Of course, the power switch is not actually interacting with the objects to turn them on or off. Instead, it's simply turning the power off and on. Again, I've set up a really simple example to show it in action using some lights. I can toggle all the lights off and on simply by flipping the switch. But the sensors do not stop there. We have several new hoops, arches, and rings, and some existing items that have been updated. Up first is the medium sensor arch. See that blue field in the middle? That will sense when you pass through the arch. What the arch triggers? Well, that's up to you. You can attach Tier 1 objects to all 6 slots, but those same 6 slots also feature target pins. These target pins work the same as those found on other sensors. When triggered, they will send out a signal to activate whatever items they are attached to. You can use them in combination with other sensors or simply attach directly to objects. And we have a lot of new stuff that works just like the medium sensor arch. But before we take a look at them, listen to the satisfying sound the blue sensor emits each time you pass through it. The large hoop A and B have become the large sensor hoop A and B, and have been updated to include the blue sensor field in the middle, along with dual target pin and activation slots. Going hand in hand, the large ring has been updated to become the large sensor ring. And as I just mentioned, all 3 of these function exactly like the medium sensor arch. The extra large arch has become the extra large sensor arch, and it receives the same sort of updates. The reaction slots that it already had have been updated to the new dual reaction slots and target pins. So just like all the others, if you pass through the blue sensor, you will activate the reaction slots or target pins depending on how you have things set up. The extra large canopy has been updated in much the same way, though there are a few key points that set it apart. First, you may have noticed that the recipe no longer requires explosive powder. That is because, second, it no longer shoots fireworks when it's activated by a ball or marble. Instead, it has a new Tier 1 reaction slot target pin combo on the back. So if you want fireworks to go off when somebody scores a goal, well, you're going to have to supply your own. We also have a new set of arches that are quite large and have a lot of potential use cases. The extra large sensor hoop A stands on 3 legs with power cables on each leg. The ring at the top has 3 target pin reaction slot combos like those that we saw a few moments ago. And on the very top, there are 3 standard Tier 2 slots. This new hoop, along with the next one we'll look at, fits very nicely together with a shuttle landing pad. Set up like this, you could easily have the hoop configured to activate items as you touch down on the landing pad. Though, do be careful around this hoop. When you exit the small shuttle, it seems to cause you to shoot up into the air a bit. I suspect this is because the small shuttle door is being blocked by the hoop itself. Perhaps rotated around or maybe even used with a different shuttle, we wouldn't risk using our ankles when exiting the shuttle. And then we have the massive extra large sensor hoop B. Again, it stands on 3 legs with a power plug on each leg. And it also has 3 target pin reaction slot combos around the ring on top. It also has the 3 Tier 2 slots on top. But it also has these slots about 3/4 of the way up each leg, giving you a total of 6 of each type of slot. On all of these objects with a target pin reaction slot combo, if you place an object into the reaction slot, you cannot use the target pin and vice versa. Thankfully, everything but the extra large sensor canopy has multiple combo slots, so it shouldn't really become a problem. And that's everything that's new, but it is not all that we need to talk about today. Several existing production objects have a small but incredibly useful update. See that little blue button next to the start button on the printer control panel? That allows you to set the printer to continue printing the same object over and over again. Now you do not need to set up clocks or timers to trigger printers, as they will keep right on printing until they no longer have the required resources. You can toggle the repeat button off and on, and if you change the printer output to a new object, it automatically cancels the repeat function. By the way, for those of you on consoles or that use a controller on PC, you can turn the repeat button off and on with the X button on an Xbox controller and the square button on a PS4 controller. Oh, one extra note. Sadly, the backpack printer does not include a repeat button. So if you were looking to mass produce fireworks from your backpack, well, let's just hope that we see that functionality added in a future update. The soil centrifuge, atmospheric condenser, and chemistry lab have also received this same update. Just like the printers, turning on repeat will tell the producer to keep on making whatever you selected until it runs out of resources or storage. I really like this new addition, as it means the on-off button will only go through one cycle instead of repeating endlessly. But if you do want it to keep on producing, simply turn on the repeat button and let it go to town. One small thing to note though. Most of us are used to the atmospheric condenser producing gas canisters until all storage is full. Now, it will not do that unless you also turn on the repeat button. In addition to all of the new and updated items, I am very happy to report that using a large number of auto arms will no longer result in some of them eventually stopping. Through over 2 hours of game time, my RTG factory ran entirely without supervision, and every single auto arm continued to function without any issue. I have even seen a report from one player who tested 50 auto arms in a long conveyor belt style layout, and they all continued to function until they were turned off. And of course, there have been numerous bug fixes and performance enhancements in the update. I'll include a link in the description below to the official Astroneer subreddit that contains the patch notes for this update the moment Joe gets them posted. There are also changes to what's in stock in EXO Outfitters, but we'll cover all of that in a later video or live stream. But Joe did mention in last Friday's stream that the EXO bundle of visors will be going away. So if you want those, now's your chance to get them. And all of this, the game update and changes in EXO Outfitters, launches on Tuesday, August 18th. At least that was the last official word Joe shared with us during that same live stream last Friday. We do not have an exact time, though historically updates tend to go live in the middle of the afternoon Pacific time. Though if the update were to go live early, I'm sure nobody would complain. All I know is what Joe said during the live stream. This update really rounds out automation for Astroneer. The new switch and repeater bring greater flexibility for how and when things are triggered, and the hoops, arches, and rings allow us to set up triggers based on not just power, battery, state, or storage, but also when you leave or arrive back at your base. The new switch and repeaters also introduce logic gates and even the ability to create a bit for logical operations. I cannot wait to see what people like Twitch streamer T Hill come up with using the new switch and repeaters. When it comes to canisters, I would really like to see the resource and gas canisters updated with a third function. They need to be able to automatically pull a resource when output is disabled. And they need to have an output option that will fill all attached storage. And then they need to have a second output option that will output only one nugget or canister that does not get moved to storage. The way they work right now just doesn't feel good. They still require too much manual interaction, and they feel like they do not quite fit into the full idea of automation. It's also a bit of a bummer that the backpack printer does not have a repeat button. I know I have had numerous times that such a repeat button would have come in handy. If I'm making a lot of small wind turbines or small batteries, it would be really nice to just press the button once and let things happen. Granted, storage for resources and produced items, not to mention power, are quite limited in your backpack. But some items can already be printed on both the small printer and your backpack printer. Why not just let us print all of it on the small printer if we want to? Or better yet, let us create an extra detached backpack printer that we can slap on a platform, feed resources to it, and let it print en masse. Overall though, automation definitely feels much more complete with this update, and I hope that we'll see even more automation items in the future. But I would love to hear what you think about it. Leave a comment below with your thoughts. Do you love this update, or do you hate it? Or maybe you're just indifferent. What ideas do you have for using all these new objects? And what other automation items would you like to see? Drop all those thoughts into the comments down below. If you enjoyed this Astroneer update video, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Not only do I have a brand new automation series starting soon, I'll also be starting a brand new Let's Play of Astroneer. When I did my first complete playthrough of Astroneer, I had absolutely no clue what I was doing. Now that I know a little bit more, it'll be interesting to see how quickly I can complete the game. And this new Let's Play is open to guests from the Vainglorious community. You can join me in Discord and in-game as we play together to complete Astroneer. So come hang out with us on the Vainglorious Discord and become part of our community. And that wraps it up for my coverage of the Automation Part 2 update. So until next time, I'm Brandon, reminding you to stay vainglorious.